Imagine your wedding night being watched by strangers who documented every detail. Sounds horrifying, right? Medieval women endured shocking preparation rituals that would traumatize modern brides. Archaeological evidence shows these practices were legally required across Europe, with failure meaning annulment, social disgrace, or worse. Medieval marriage wasn't about love, but political alliances, property transfer, and bloodline continuation. Women faced months of preparation involving physical examinations, public ceremonies, and invasive procedures that modern society would consider barbaric. These 18 shocking practices reveal how medieval women sacrificed privacy, dignity, and bodily autonomy for family honor and social survival. Practice 1. Public bedding. Medieval communities established public bedding rituals where wedding guests escorted newlyweds to their chamber, remaining present during undressing and initial intimacy. Different social classes offered varying levels of privacy, with nobility facing larger audiences while peasants endured smaller but equally intrusive gatherings. This practice required community participation and provided legal documentation. According to medieval law and religious doctrine, Practice 2. Virginity testing. Medieval women underwent physical examinations by experienced matrons who verified intact hymens through invasive procedures that determined marriage, eligibility, and family honor. The method involved skilled women examining brides days before weddings, documenting findings for family records and legal purposes. Different testing approaches offered varying levels of accuracy, with some regions requiring multiple examinations, while others accepted single assessments. These examinations provided legal protection for husbands, while ensuring families maintained reputations through verified purity that prevented accusations of deception or fraud regarding the bride's previous sexual experience. Practice 3. Blood. Medieval families required public display of blood-stained bedsheets following wedding night consummation as proof of successful defloration and marriage validity. The technique involved careful preservation of stained linens that were exhibited to family members, community leaders, and sometimes entire villages, depending on social status. Different preservation methods offered varying documentation quality, with some families maintaining sheets for years as permanent proof, while others required immediate public viewing before disposal. This practice provided legal evidence that prevented marriage annulment while protecting family honor through visible demonstration of bride's virginity and successful consummation. According to medieval marriage laws and social expectations, practice for consummation. Witnesses. Medieval legal systems required appointed witnesses to verify marriage consummation through direct observation or immediate postcoital examination that provided legally binding documentation, preventing future disputes. The technique involves selecting trusted community members, usually older married women and male family representatives, who remained outside bedchambers, listening for specific sounds, or entered immediately afterward to examine evidence. Different witness protocols offered varying legal protection, with noble marriages requiring formal documentation. While peasant unions relied on verbal testimony, medieval communities established these systems. Because marriage annulment was common, when consummation couldn't be proven, leaving women without legal protection or financial security, witness testimony prevented husbands from falsely claiming non-consummation to escape marriage obligations while protecting women from abandonment accusations. The genius lay in creating legal frameworks that protected both parties through verifiable documentation, though at tremendous personal cost to bride privacy and dignity. Practice 5. Pain preparation. Medieval women received detailed instruction about expected wedding night pain through mothers, married sisters, and experienced matrons who prepared brides for traumatic first sexual experiences using practical and psychological methods. The technique involved explaining physical realities of defloration while teaching pain management through breathing techniques, positioning advice, and herbal remedies that reduced discomfort during forced penetration. Different preparation methods offered varying effectiveness, with some families providing detailed anatomical education, while others relied on basic warnings. Processing techniques included herbal preparation using willow bark for pain relief, valerian root for relaxation, and specific oils that provided lubrication, reducing injury risk during violent consummation. Medieval communities established these systems because wedding night injuries were common while medical treatment was limited. making prevention essential for bride survival and marriage success. The genius lay in understanding that preparation reduced physical trauma while maintaining social requirements for virginal ignorance. Practice 6. Conception positioning. Medieval women learned specific sexual positions. Designed to maximize conception probability through detailed instruction from experienced mothers who taught anatomical positioning that ensured successful pregnancy during early marriage months. The technique involved understanding male and female anatomy while learning optimal positioning that facilitated sperm retention and increased fertilization chances according to medieval medical knowledge. Different positioning methods offered varying conception success, with some techniques focusing on gravity assistance while others emphasized specific angles. The method involved timing, coordination with lunar cycles, and seasonal considerations that medieval medicine associated with increased conception probability, though modern science recognizes these beliefs as largely superstitious. Medieval communities established these practices because rapid pregnancy was essential for marriage success. While childless marriages faced annulment or abandonment, the genius lay in systematic approaches that combined limited anatomical knowledge with religious beliefs about reproduction and family continuation. Practice 7. Husbands' rights. Medieval brides received comprehensive education about husbands' absolute legal rights over their bodies, property, and behavior through formal instruction that established complete male dominance and female submission as fundamental marriage principles. The technique involved detailed explanation of legal frameworks that granted husbands unlimited sexual access, physical discipline authority, and complete control over wife's movements, friendships, and family relationships. Different educational approaches offered varying levels of detail, with noble families providing extensive legal instruction, while peasant education focused on basic obedience requirements. Medieval communities established these systems because marriage discord threatened family stability, while disobedient wives faced severe consequences, including physical violence, social ostracism, and complete abandonment without legal recourse. The method involved systematic indoctrination that replaced individual will with absolute compliance. The genius lay in creating comprehensive control systems that eliminated female autonomy while ensuring social stability. Through clearly defined hierarchical relationships. Practice 8. Bloodline verification. Medieval families conducted extensive bloodline documentation through genealogical research that verified bride's genetic purity and ensured marriage alliances strengthened rather than contaminated family lineages, according to complex hereditary requirements. The technique involved detailed family tree analysis spanning multiple generations while investigating potential genetic defects, mental illness, or criminal behavior that could affect offspring quality. Different verification methods offered varying accuracy levels, with noble families employing professional genealogists while peasant communities relied on oral tradition. The method involved physical examination for hereditary markers, behavioral assessment for mental stability, and extensive interviewing of family members who could attest to genetic soundness across generational lines. Medieval communities established these systems because bloodline purity determined social status, while genetic contamination threatened family reputation and political alliances. The genius lay in systematic approaches that protected family interests through careful genetic selection. Though based on limited understanding of heredity and genetics. Practice 9. Divorce prevention. Medieval families implemented comprehensive strategies to prevent marriage dissolution through legal, social, and physical virtually impossible, while ensuring wives remained bound to husbands regardless of abuse, neglect, or incompatibility. The technique involved creating multiple legal obstacles, including property entanglement, family hostage situations, and religious restrictions that made separation economically and socially devastating for both parties. Different prevention methods offered varying effectiveness, with wealthy families using complex legal contracts, while poor families relied on social pressure. Medieval communities established these systems because marriage stability was essential for social order, while divorce threatened property distribution and family alliances. The method involved systematic elimination of escape routes through legal, economic, and social barriers. The genius lay in creating comprehensive binding systems that prioritized family stability over individual happiness or safety, ensuring marriages continued regardless of personal satisfaction or abuse levels. Practice 10. Class differences. Medieval wedding night preparations varied dramatically between social classes, with noble women enduring elaborate public ceremonies, while peasant brides faced simpler, but equally intrusive community oversight that reflected different economic and political requirements. The technique involved class-specific protocols that matched family resources, while maintaining essential verification requirements across all social levels. Different class approaches offered varying privacy levels, with nobility accepting greater intrusion due to political implications, while peasants experienced more intimate community involvement. Noble preparations included formal witness appointments, elaborate documentation, and political alliance considerations that affected entire kingdoms through strategic marriage connections. Peasant ceremonies focused on community validation and family honor protection, using simpler methods that achieve similar verification goals with limited resources. The genius lay in flexible systems that achieved essential goals across economic differences, while maintaining social hierarchy through ceremonial complexity. Practice 11. Religious blessings. Medieval wedding night preparations included extensive religious ceremonies where priests performed sacred rituals that blessed marriages, while invoking divine protection for successful consummation and rapid conception according to Christian doctrine. The technique involved formal prayers, holy water application, and blessed object placement that created sacred environments for intimate union. While ensuring God's approval for physical relationship, different religious approaches offered varying spiritual protection, with Catholic ceremonies emphasizing sacramental nature, while Orthodox traditions focused on mystical union aspects. Medieval communities established these systems because spiritual preparation was considered essential for successful marriage. While ungodly unions faced divine punishment through childlessness or marital discord, the method involved coordinated religious and family activities that combined spiritual and practical preparation. The genius lay in integrating religious authority with family requirements that created comprehensive preparation systems addressing spiritual, physical, and social marriage aspects. Practice 12. Family honor. Medieval families conducted elaborate honor ceremonies where extended relatives gathered to witness bride's final preparation, while publicly affirming family reputation and social standing through formal declarations of purity and worthiness. The technique involved ceremonial presentations where family elders testified to bride's moral character, while community leaders acknowledged family honor and marriage appropriateness. Different honor approaches offered varying social validation, with prominent families requiring extensive witness lists, while modest families focused on immediate community recognition. Medieval communities established these systems because family honor determined social position, while marriage alliances affected entire kinship networks through reputation transfer. The method involved formal speeches that praised family lineage, public displays of dowry wealth, and ceremonial gift exchanges that demonstrated family prosperity and social connections. The genius lay in creating public validation systems that protected family reputation while ensuring community recognition of marriage legitimacy and social appropriateness. Practice 13. Dowry displays. Medieval wedding preparations included elaborate dowry presentations where families publicly displayed wealth transfers, while negotiating final property arrangements that determined wife's economic security and husband's financial gain through marriage alliance. The technique involved formal inventory creation listing all transferred property, while establishing legal frameworks that protected both family interests through documented agreements. Different dowry approaches offered varying economic security, with wealthy families providing substantial property while poor families contributed labor or service arrangements. Medieval communities established these systems because economic arrangements determined marriage success, while inadequate dowries threatened family relationships and wife's security. The method involved coordinated negotiation between families that balanced economic reality with social expectations. The genius lay in creating transparent property transfer systems that protected all parties, while ensuring marriages provided economic benefit and security for participants through calculated wealth distribution. Practice 14. Purity oaths. Medieval brides participated in sacred oath ceremonies where they swore formal vows about their virginal status, while invoking religious and social consequences for deception through elaborate ritual procedures that bound them spiritually and legally. The technique involved ceremonial presentations before religious authorities, who administered sacred oaths, while family witnesses affirmed bride's truthfulness according to personal knowledge and observation. Different oath approaches offered varying spiritual binding, with formal church ceremonies emphasizing divine judgment. While family oaths focused on social consequences, medieval communities established these systems because virginity fraud threatened family honor, while false marriages could destroy social alliances and property arrangements. The method involved specific ritual language that called upon divine punishment for false testimony, while establishing legal frameworks that voided marriages based on deception. Discovery, the genius lay in creating multiple accountability layers that protected family interests while ensuring marriage validity through spiritual and social binding. Practice 15. Physical preparation. Medieval women underwent extensive physical conditioning programs designed to prepare their bodies for traumatic wedding night experiences through exercises, dietary regimens, and medical treatments that increased survival chances during violent consummation. The technique involved systematic physical strengthening, using specific exercises that improved flexibility while building endurance for prolonged physical stress during marriage initiation. Different preparation methods offered varying effectiveness, with some families employing trained women who specialized in bride conditioning, while others relied on traditional family knowledge. Medieval communities established these systems because wedding night injuries were common while medical treatment was limited, making physical preparation essential for bride survival. The method involved graduated conditioning that prepared bodies for trauma while maintaining virginal appearance and behavior. The genius lay in systematic approaches that addressed physical realities of forced intimacy, while working within social constraints that demanded maintained innocence. Practice 16. Fertility testing. Medieval families conducted fertility assessments, using traditional techniques that evaluated brides' reproductive potential through physical examination, family history analysis, and mystical testing methods that predicted conception ability according to period medical understanding. The technique involved examining physical markers that medieval medicine associated with fertility while investigating family reproductive history for patterns that indicated genetic fertility or sterility problems. Different testing approaches offered varying accuracy, with some methods focusing on physical characteristics while others emphasized mystical signs. Medieval communities established these practices because infertile marriages threatened family continuation, while childless wives faced abandonment or annulment. The method involved coordination between experienced women who understood fertility signs and religious authorities, who performed blessed examinations that combined medical knowledge with spiritual insight. The genius lay in systematic approaches that addressed fertility concerns using available knowledge, while providing hope for successful reproduction through careful assessment and preparation. Practice 18. Community involvement. Medieval wedding night preparations required extensive community participation, where village members contributed to verification processes while sharing responsibility for marriage success through collective oversight and support systems that ensured social stability. The technique involved organized community roles that distributed marriage verification tasks, while creating shared investment in relationship success through collective participation and responsibility. Different community approaches offered varying involvement levels, with close-knit villages requiring extensive participation, while larger communities focused on representative involvement. Medieval communities established these practices because marriage success affected social stability, while isolated couples lacked essential support systems for relationship navigation. The method involved systematic community organization that assigned specific roles to trusted members, while establishing collective accountability for marriage verification and ongoing support. The genius lay in creating comprehensive community support systems that shared marriage burdens, while ensuring collective investment in relationship success through distributed responsibility and ongoing involvement. Historical significance. These shocking practices existed because medieval marriage was fundamentally different from modern romantic relationships. Serving as political alliances, economic contracts, and social stability mechanisms rather than personal partnerships based on love and compatibility, medieval society prioritized family honor, property transfer, and bloodline continuation over individual happiness or personal choice, making verification and control essential for social order. The genius lay in creating comprehensive systems that addressed medieval concerns about legitimacy, inheritance, and social stability through systematic verification and control mechanisms. Different social requirements demanded extensive documentation and community involvement, because marriage affected entire family networks and political alliances rather than just individual couples. These practices represented logical solutions to medieval challenges, including limited legal frameworks, economic insecurity, and social instability that required marriage verification for survival. Medieval communities established these systems because alternative approaches threatened social order, while unverified marriages could destroy family relationships and political alliances. The techniques provided essential legal protection and social validation for marriages that were primarily business arrangements requiring extensive verification and community support. Modern marriage laws typically protect individual rights, while medieval systems prioritized family interests and social stability through comprehensive control and verification mechanisms that ensured marriage success according to period requirements and expectations.